We are back on Inside Politics with Dr. John Weil from Middle Tennessee State University, history and political science professor there. We're talking about the coronavirus and its impact on our politics. Dr. Weil, we had a primary held in Wisconsin, the first one in a while, and with all the things going on with the virus, it was very difficult. There were a lot of contested situations going on in the court. Even the U.S. Supreme Court got involved. Is that a preview for what might happen in November, all this confusion and unhappiness, if this virus is still hanging around somehow?
You know, I sure hope not, but it doesn't look very promising, does it? What a mess. There have been, you know, for whatever reason, Democrats seem much more comfortable with voting by mail, that sort of thing, than Republicans do. And with the two houses of Congress being split, it's going to be hard to get anything through.
Is there even going to be a convention this summer? These states may not. A lot of them have postponed their primaries. Those might not be held as well if this goes well into June or July. So is the convention just going to be over and they'll have to do it virtually?
You know, we don't know. The one thing we do know is that conventions have been less consequential over the past, 40 years than they were before. We rarely have a contested convention. Most of the anticipation often centers on who the vice presidential candidate will be. If we have a city, if Milwaukee is in the middle, continues to be a hotspot for coronavirus, obviously we're not going to have the Democratic convention there, and the same for Charlotte for the Republicans. Traditionally, both parties get a bump after the convention. I don't know if they'll get a similar bump with a virtual convention or not.
Well, you won't have the acceptance speeches, people roaring approval for their candidates, given that bump out there. What's an online convention going to look like?
The closest I can come is that each candidate's each side would be given half a day or 2 half-a-days, and they would line up some speeches. I suppose you could have some fairly decent entertainment, pledge to the flag and that sort of thing. But you're right, and particularly if you think of Trump, he just thrives on the enthusiasm and the energy from a crowd. And it's hard to believe that he's going to come across quite the same way just speaking in a screen as he would to thousands of people.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to believe we're having a campaign without any large rallies, without big crowds, without candidates out shaking hands even. In fact, will shaking hands even continue after the coronavirus is over? What about kissing babies? That would be out too.
Well, better for the babies, perhaps. I did see that Dr. Fauci was sort of encouraging people this morning to, maybe this is the time to eliminate handshakes altogether. So I don't know if we're going to elbow bumps or fist bumps or where we're headed. Even
in terms of the sort of meat and potatoes campaigning, door-to-door canvassing would be almost impossible. People don't want to have people come into their doors. They don't know who they are. Large phone banks also might be kind of difficult to organize and get done. Even fundraisers. I mean, there's something about being in the room with the candidate and also about standing next to him, getting his picture taken, especially given how much money people have to pay in order to get that picture taken.
Yes, I guess maybe you can hold out the possibility of bringing him to the inaugural ball if everything is over by January. But you're right, a lot of fundraising right now is done via phone. But you're correct. To be able to say you've actually talked to a president or shaken his hand or have a picture of you and the president on your desk, it's not going to be the same.
So in sort of the last question, as we look into the 2020 election, it'll not only perhaps be the closest and most hotly contested and perhaps the most consequential election of our lifetimes, is also going to see a campaign and strategies that have changed in ways we never thought would have happened even 2 or 3 months ago. It's going to be a very, very different year.
It is, and it, we're not known as Americans for participating, having that high a level of voting participation. And I think one of the things political scientists will be particularly interested in is, do people come out in the same numbers for a virtual campaign as they do for others? And again, part of the significance of the choice of a vice presidential candidate would be, can you have somebody who might gin up a little bit more enthusiasm than a typical candidate would.
So you think there's a possibility we might see a decline in voter participation because of concerns about the virus, or just sort of the strange nature of this campaign?
Yeah, I'm thinking more of the strange nature of the campaign, but obviously, I mean, I guess hats off to the people in Wisconsin who are willing to wait, with groups of people for 2 or 3 hours to cast their right to vote. But, if the virus were to continue, and I don't think it'll be anything near the same level on election day, but were it to be, you could hardly blame somebody for choosing not to put their life at risk in order to vote.
So maybe we're looking at more voter by mail, maybe also just fewer things going on in general, and the campaign being very different than before. Dr. Vial, thank you very much for joining us. We really appreciate you spending the time with us, and good luck for us in the future. And thank you for joining us on Inside Politics. Hope you're back here again for a future show. If you can't get enough politics in the meantime, go to the News Channel 5 website. You'll find my Capitol View commentary there. It's a new commentary posted every Friday afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you here next time. Goodbye.